Gentlelady yields back. Chair recognizes Ms. Boebert for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you so much to our witnesses. Thank you for our sector chiefs for being here present with us today. This is the first time in the Biden administration that we have had the privilege to have our Customs and Border Patrol agents here present with us in Washington, D.C. So I appreciate you being here. I would like to ask you both, do you think that you were brought here today to promote white nationalism? Mr. Modlin?
Thanks for the question, ma'am. I can tell you I absolutely was not brought here for that reason.
Thank you. Chief Chavez?
No, ma'am, I was not.
Thank you. Chief Modlin, compared to 2 years ago, is Border Patrol finding more or less dead bodies of people trying to cross the border?
So within the Tucson sector, because that is my purview, I can tell you that we are encountering more migrants that have died in the
Thank you, Chief Modlin. That is correct, and in fact, nearly 1,400 dead bodies have been found along the southern border since Biden took office. Each year has been a record high and a 300% increase since the Trump administration. Chief Modlin, do you know border counties that have had to procure mobile morgues just to try to keep up with the increased volume of dead bodies Border Patrol is finding?
Ma'am, I'm unaware of that within the Tucson sector. What I can tell you, though, is that we work very hard to try to prevent any migrant deaths out there. So as I was starting to say earlier, close to 300 EMTs and paramedics, a great ability to lift agents on Blackhawks, get them to people very quickly to prevent
With all due respect, thank you, Chief Modlin. Just last year, Culberson County Sheriff Oscar Carrillo was forced to deploy a corpse trolley after finding so many bodies, so many more bodies than in years past. These counties are using their limited resources to clean up Joe Biden's mess. This sheriff stated, quote, "I used to request regular stuff like bulletproof vests. Now I'm asking for more body quotes, end bag." Chief Modlin, compared to 2 years ago, is Border Patrol arresting more illegal aliens found to have criminal convictions or fewer?
Ma'am, so in terms
more or
of
fewer, please, Chief.
Ma'am?
More or fewer?
More.
Thank you. In fact, Border Patrol arrested more than 12,000 last year, up from 2,500 in fiscal year 2020. That's almost a 400% increase. Now, what about terrorists? Is Border Patrol encountering more or less people with records in terrorist screening databases? Chief Modlin.
Ma'am, my understanding more commensurate with the increased flow.
In fact, CBP encountered 98 potential terrorists last fiscal year. That's compared to just 6 during President Trump's entire time in office. Chief Chavez, I've visited your sector. What about known gotaways? Have those increased over the last couple of years, known gotaways?
They have, ma'am.
Yes, I have that information as well. On Biden's watch, there have been over 1.2 million known gotaways, and of course, we don't know the unknown gotaways. Now, Chief Modlin, would you agree that gotaways included convicted criminals, terrorists, drug traffickers, or even gang members?
Ma'am, as I've stated, I don't think I can suppose
Thank you, Chief.
anything.
Chief Chavez, are you aware prosecuting and imprisoning these any drug trafficking criminals caught by state and local law enforcement comes out of their local budgets?
I am aware that the county and local law enforcement bear the cost of the detention for criminal.
And our local communities are being forced to foot the bill for Joe Biden's border crisis. What about CBP officers committing suicide? Now, I have seen the despair in Border Patrol agents' faces. Their morale is certainly decreased. They are unable to do the job that they swore to do. Would you say that that has increased in the past 2 years? I'll let both of you answer yes or no.
It has, ma'am. In the last 2 years, Border Patrol has had 13 suicides, 5 in RGV, and it's a terrible thing that we experience.
Thank you, Chief. My time is almost up. Chief Modlin, yes or no? Are suicides up? Yes,
agree with
thank you.
Chief Chavez.
Unfortunate and disgraceful. And I have one final question. Chief Modlin, You were asked if there was a policy change, if there was laws changing, and that it was possibly, you answered that it was possibly rumors that people were coming here to our country illegally because of something they had heard. But wouldn't you agree that policy did change? Under President Trump, it was catch and deport. And under Biden, it is catch and release into the interior of our country. They are no longer waiting outside of our country for asylum. They are being released into our country on the honor system. And so with that, we are seeing an increase of terrorists, 1,500%, gang members coming across that have doubled, illegal crossings with criminal convictions up 400%, dead bodies being found up to 300%, and CBP suicides at a decade high. So would you agree that the policy did change? And the truth is that there is an invasion happening at our southern border because of this policy change, and it's happening because Joe Biden invoked amnesty and changed the secure border policies that were working for our country, and he won't change it back because Democrats, and this is intentional. In fact, their policy is a success. It's not a failure because this is their intent.
Chair's lady's time has expired, but please feel free to answer the question.
Thank you, ma'am. So I stand by my response. All I know is what we're being told by people that have crossed, and they absolutely unequivocally said they crossed because they felt like law and policy had changed.
Recognizes Ms. Green for 5 minutes.
Thank you, and thank you, Chief Modlin. Thank you for Chief Chavez for coming in and speaking with us today. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about unaccompanied minors. I'm sure this is a very serious situation that you're familiar with. Under the Trump administration, with Title 42, can you tell me when you had unaccompanied minors, what would happen to those children?
Thank you for the question, ma'am. So before or after Title 42, so my point is Title 42 did not affect how we deal with unaccompanied children. We do not expel unaccompanied children. So when unaccompanied children are encountered, they're brought into our custody. We make sure they get any medical attention they need, showers, change of clothes, all of that. And then they're turned over to HHS's ORR within 72 hours.
And that's how it's handled right now under the Biden administration?
That's how it's been handled for as long as I've been handling unaccompanied children, ma'am.
And were they sent back to their home countries before the Biden administration?
Not to my knowledge. But again, ma'am, what I would say is, again, that's much further down the process than where the Border Patrol is. So once we encounter them, whether it was 3 or 4 years ago or yesterday, they're brought into our custody, assessed, and then eventually turned over to ORR. Where they end up, that's much longer after we have them.
Many of them were sent back to their home countries before under Trump's administration. I want to talk to you a minute about, are you familiar with, there was a 20-year-old autistic woman in Maryland who was strangled to death by an illegal alien here, 17-year-old MS-13 gang member. Under the program as it is right now, many of the MS-13 gang members are being brought in the country as unaccompanied minors. They're very young. They're under 18, and then their numbers have doubled, maybe tripled in our country. What have you seen with that?
Again, ma'am, thanks for the question. My personal experience in the 2 years I've been in the Tucson sector, I'm unaware of any significant amount of MS-13 gang members within the unaccompanied children population.
Well, how are you able to know if they're gang members or not? Do you have an MS-13 gang database that you're able to search them up in there and somehow find out if they're gang members or not?
So, ma'am, with our agents that have a significant amount of training and experience, there are things they look for. There are certainly, as you know, you've probably seen photographs of MS-13 gang members with significant amount of tattoos. Sometimes it's simply an admission of it. Sometimes it may be other things that trigger agents to start questioning.
Right, but Chief Modlin, they may not have had all their tattoos yet, being that they're young and under 18. Being 15 or 16-year-old. As a matter of fact, they are coming in the country at a much higher rate. That's why this 20-year-old autistic woman was killed, because of an illegal alien, a 17-year-old MS-13 gang member, and she'd be alive today if our border was secure. You know, one of my Democrat colleagues was talking about the wall as if it doesn't work. I assure you that the Democrats believe in walls because they've erected one around the Capitol today because President Joe Biden is delivering his State of the Union address to the country. Walls do work, and we want you to have a wall as one of the toolkits in your box to stop the illegal invasion into our country that's occurring every single day. Are you aware of how many fentanyl deaths that the percentage increase in my home state of Georgia?
Ma'am, I'm unaware.
Well, I'll just let you know, fentanyl deaths have increased to 350% in Georgia. We're not a border state. We're not along the southern border, but fentanyl deaths have gone up 350%. Are you aware of how much money the Mexican cartels make selling fentanyl, or what their industry makes?
Ma'am, again, thank you. So what I do know is that the cartels are making billions, and whether it's fentanyl, whether it's moving people across the border, everything's a commodity to them. And to your point earlier, you not being a border state, it has been said many times, and I completely agree that every state is a border state, ma'am. Everything that happens on the border affects the entirety of the country.
Absolutely, and that's why a young lady in Maryland should be alive today, because our border should be secure. It's a $20 billion industry, the cartels have, $20 billion, and that's because our border is not secure. Now, we appreciate the job that you do, both of you, and we're thankful for you, but we are completely against the policies of the Biden administration that's allowing the murder of over 300 Americans a day from fentanyl, allowing the Mexican cartels to illegally make over $20 billion, and allow our country to be invaded every single day. And I yield back the remainder of my time.